It's 12:15. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front. We're live at Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. And Landrum, the menu, they had added a couple items about 2 months ago, and they have been a huge success over the summertime months.
Yeah, they've got the Mexican pizzas. That's what we call them. They call them something else that I cannot pronounce, but it's the official name. But think about Mexican pizza, but just kicked up a notch with the buffalo chicken pizza. But if you're thinking buffalo chicken, it's delicious. But if you're not crazy about buffalo chicken, it's really not the buffalo chicken that you're thinking about. Also, the guacamole, you can add the bacon, all kinds of different sandwiches. If you're feeling like a sandwich, you're not really feeling like Mexican food. Social Taco, and don't forget about brunch on the weekends. 10 to 2:30 on Saturdays, 10 to 2:30 on Sundays, the bottomless tapas brunch. It is to die for. It's socialtaco.bar. Check out the menu. Availability. They're at your leisure.
Well, one thing's for sure, Auburn fans feeling much better over the course of the last few weeks in regards to where their recruiting rankings currently stand. They were in the 70s just a few weeks ago. A big-time commitment late last week. They now have, according to On3 and Rivals, the Auburn Tigers now find themselves in the top 40 at number 37, and more good news could be on the horizon for the Auburn Tigers. And joining us now from On3 and Rivals, Steve Wiltfong joins us here on Three Man Front. Steve, I hope you're doing well on this Tuesday.
Guys, doing well, just trying to keep up with everything, but fall camp is upon us. The season is around the corner, and that's really where Auburn is going to make its hay on the recruiting trail in 2026 and beyond. You know, the first couple cycles, Hugh Freeze and his staff were able to go out and pull in top 10 recruiting classes, but the time is now to go out there and win and show the recruits what this program is capable of. You know, Hugh Freeze and company, when they went on the trail the last two cycles, pointed to their resumes, their outstanding resumes. This is what we're going to build at Auburn. We've won everywhere we've been, but now kids want to see it. That's why it's been a little slower for Auburn on the trail this cycle. But if Auburn can come out and have a season like Florida did, finish strong, do better, and I know the aspirations are better, and they should be higher with the way they recruited, the way they've gone in the transfer portal. We're going to see Auburn be able to really come back around in November, come back on some recruits that they didn't win the first time around, and maybe pull into a top 10 class like Florida did. But the job will be done on the field this year. High expectations there should be as Auburn tries to compete for a college football playoff spot.
Steve, we got to start with Jace Matthews from the state of Mississippi. I think number 2 overall in the country at wide receiver. Describe for listeners not seeing Jace Matthews play what Auburn and Hugh Freeze appear to be getting.
Well, they got a guy that can create separation, a guy that can make plays with the football after the catch, and a guy that can win one-on-one balls in traffic, one of the top wide receivers in the country. The way Auburn has recruited the wide receiver position, what they've been able to do in the transfer portal, there is a standard in that room. Jace Matthews certainly meets that. He's someone that'll be able to come in and push whoever is on the roster that's older than him. And then certainly there'll be some opportunity for him to compete right away because of what Auburn could lose following the season.
Steve, in regards to what may potentially be in the pipeline for Auburn over the course of the next few weeks, and I know you just mentioned the proof will be in the pudding for a lot of folks in regards to Auburn going out and getting the wins, but in regards to what may be on the ultimate horizon here over the next couple weeks or the next month or so, do you see anything or anyone that Auburn fans should keep their eyes on?
Well, obviously the number one safety in the country, Braylon Womack out of Hartsfield Academy in the state of Mississippi. He's going to commit before month's end, and Auburn is one of the front runners. Florida is the program that I think they're really battling with. Ohio State and Texas A&M rounding out the top 4, but Auburn surged in this recruitment with a great summer official visit. His sister plays softball for the Auburn Tigers. The chance for them to go to the same school is it makes this opportunity extra enticing. I think Auburn has done a good job on the NIL front with Braylon Womack. But Florida is charging hard. He's still having final conversations with all of his finalists, but that's a big fish out there for Auburn and Braylon Womack.
As far as the criticism that came with Hugh Freeze and this Auburn staff early in the recruiting cycle, Steve, I know that you pointed towards you've got to sell now proof on the field. Kids need to see results. Some of that had to do with Auburn's interpretation of the rules according to Auburn, and some of those written offers not being able to go out until August 1st or beyond. Based on folks that you've talked to, how much of an impact did that have in the early recruiting for Hugh Freeze?
Look, I just know in the modern recruiting era, Auburn had top 10 classes the last 2 cycles, so I think that the Tigers are well-versed to compete in the modern recruiting era, and maybe what the Auburn staff has said to the media about adapting to the new rules and new elements of college football going into this cycle holds true. But I still think it's more about what are they going to look like on the field. And I'd be excited if I'm an Auburn fan about the potential that this team has on the field because of the way they've recruited, the way they've gone into the transfer portal and addressed key positions of need, key positions in winning ball games, and they've stocked this roster with talented football players, and now it's time to go put it together on the field and show recruits from here on out that Auburn is a program that is going to compete for SEC championships and is going to be in the college football playoff conversation year in and year out.
Steve Wiltfong joins us from Rivals and On3. We're talking a little recruiting for Alabama and Auburn. So let's talk about the Tide. Right now, Alabama, according to the Rivals rankings, at number 7 with 21 verbal commitments, 4 5-stars. What can you tell us about this Alabama class, a little bit of work that they have left to do, and in your opinion, do you think they'll be able to hold on to those 4 5-stars?
Yeah, I think that right now you're not in any kind of concern with Alabama and this class that ranks number 7 nationally right now. I think if they could, they'd go out there and flip Anthony Tank Jones, a 5-star edge rusher that chose Oregon over Alabama and Texas A&M during the summer. Maybe they'd like to add another offensive lineman, but I think they feel great about this recruiting class as it stands now. 2 4-star quarterbacks in the fold, a 5-star safety in Jaira Edwards out of Baltimore, St. Francis, Maryland, and then to beat Texas, to beat Florida State for 5-star edge rusher Xavier Griffin out of the Peach State. You know, they went out and landed some difference makers, and this was a year where they really prioritized the state. This is one year where they thought that there were a lot of prospects within the home boundary that could help them compete at the levels that they want to. Darian Morgan, running back is Xavier Crowell. Those were 2 massive in-state recruiting wins. Now, let's not forget 5-star corner Jordan Edmonds from Sprayberry High in Georgia. Alabama putting together the best back 7 classes in the country with the way that they've kind of recruited the edge of their defense and then in the secondary.
Alabama, obviously, Steve, with the quality, the rating of each recruit now with only 21 commitments. You have other schools like Georgia there at the top with 10 more commitments at this point, but seeing some traction with Texas A&M, and I know you wrote about it, but you've got some pretty positive momentum, I would think, right now for Coach Elko and the Aggies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and they might be in a similar situation as Hugh Freeze and company next year, but Texas A&M 1 game away from making the SEC title game in year 1. You figure they're going to take another step forward in year 2 as they bring back their quarterback, Marcel Reed, who's kind of been through it and got a taste of it last season. You expect him to take a step forward under Coach Klein and company, but they've added some real quality depth to that quarterback room with Jacob Zeno, Miles O'Neill, and so that's what pushes the room. That's what makes guys get better. So certainly with Coach Elko, he's going to instill a toughness in your program. He's going to instill accountability. You saw how competitive he was able to make a Duke program and how quickly a Texas A&M program that really needed a culture adjustment from the previous regime, how Mike Elko was able to get those guys in there to play hard for each other, believe in each other. It was a team that went into that Texas game with the chance to play for the SEC championship, and they gave the Longhorns hell. Really battled Texas there in that regular season ball game that sent Texas to the SEC title game.
Steve, I want to ask you about USC because Lincoln Riley has been a disappointment at USC. But right now, according to Rivals On3, Southern Cal has the number 1 recruiting class with 32 verbal commitments. They got 2 5-stars, but 20 4-stars listed. Now, is this a situation for Southern Cal similar to Auburn about having to go out and actually prove it on the field? Do you think they'll be able to hold on to this impressive group of players right now if USC has another lackluster season?
Well, absolutely. They need to go out there on the field and show that they're continuing to improve. And if you look at last year, maybe their record wasn't what you wanted it to be, but they showed tremendous improvement on the defensive side of the ball. They were in a lot of those ball games, and they bring back their coaching staff. So there's some, infrastructure that is certainly now more aligned, right? And so I expect them to take another step forward. Lincoln Riley's first season, they made the Pac-12 championship game, and if Caleb Williams doesn't get hurt, maybe they're in the college football playoff that first season. Obviously, they took a step back over the last two campaigns, so it's a big year for Lincoln Riley and company to prove why they were brought to Southern Cal. But as far as keeping the recruits in the fold, the Trojans did a good job of investing to get these guys committed, and so they seem to have it figured out off the field. So I think, they go out there and get it done on the field, status quo with this class.
You mentioned Auburn, and still some work to do, but they could close strong and have one of those top 10, top 15 ranked classes. Who is another team that right now people aren't really noticing when it comes to national recruiting rankings that you think could make a major push and have something to say when it's all said and done?
Well, how about South Carolina, the Gamecocks? Sitting looking for another top 20 class. They got 5-star offensive lineman Darius Gray out there. They're battling LSU for him as he goes to make his commitment later in the later this month. And then they had some tough in-state recruiting wins that went against them. Samari Matthews to Texas, Tamarian Watkins to Texas A&M. They're going to continue to recruit those coveted in-state guys that committed elsewhere. If South Carolina takes another step forward this fall, that puts them in the college football playoff. They have Lenoris Sellers under center. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate. South Carolina, with how hard Shane Beamer goes on the recruiting trail, that they go out there and have a great football season, I could see them being another program that flips some guys that they lost the first time around.
That is Steve Wiltfong. You can follow his work at On3 and Rivals. Steve, I know it's a busy time. Always appreciate you carving out a couple minutes for us talking some Alabama, Auburn, and SEC recruiting. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Steve Wiltfong, he joined us. All of our guests do on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, how about our friends there at the Finnick? The Finnick right there next to Railroad Park in downtown Birmingham. Not only is it a great place for watching sports with all the video boards, the large screens, the optimum house sound, but also you want to go in, you want to hear live music, that is your place. So it's two great things there in one at the Finnick. You can find them there next to Railroad Park. And you got Wednesday through Friday, you're going to get the live acoustic acts. Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the football season, no music to get in the way. And you can enjoy sports with the sound turned up on the big games. They also have NFL Sunday Ticket, Red Zone, all of that good stuff. Wonderful menu that you can check out with some very tasty items that they've added just in time for the fall. It's a Finnick. They're also available there late in the afternoons. You want to enjoy a happy hour, you can do that. And they're going to have their food waiting on you if you choose and you call ahead. It's the Finnick in downtown Birmingham. Check them out, finnickbham.com. Check out their list of acts, all of their events, and the tasty menu. And we appreciate their partnership here on Jocks.
When we come back on Three Man Front, we're going to give you an update. There is some new information coming out about John Mateer, the quarterback at Oklahoma. An internet report yesterday afternoon surfaced in which his Venmo account appeared he was paying some guys that he knows and some football players for gambling. Where does that stand? We potentially could have a statement later this afternoon. That's next on Three Man Front.